Hello, and welcome to Using IFC-SG Content for Revit. This is part 2 of a two-part video series. Of the 5 steps in this process, part 1 of the video series covered steps 1 and 2. Now that you've added the IFC-SG parameters to your model using the Share Parameters tool, and now that you've populated the IFC classes of the elements in your model using the Standardized Data tool, we're now ready to validate those parameters. We're going to use the Autodesk Model Checker to do this. Once I have populated all the IFC classes in my model, I now want to validate that I've done it correctly by using the Model Checker. I'm going to again go to the website that holds all the content we need, interoperability.autodesk.com/Singapore. From here, you will see that there is a Model Checker check set, and you can click on it to download it. Back in Revit, I'm going to find the Interoperability Tools tab, and from Model Checker, I'm going to click on Setup. I'm going to browse to the check set I downloaded, IFC-SG Model Validation Checks, in my case version 1.0, and hit OK. And you'll notice it's split into 2 different main sections, Revit 2023 and 24, Revit 2022 and older. I'm using Revit 2023 and 2024 right now. You can toggle between them depending on which version of Revit you are using. In this case, to keep it simple, I'm just going to turn off the other disciplines except architecture. And you'll see what it's going to do is it's going to look at my IFC export as, and it's going to look at all of the different family categories related to architecture. I'm going to save and close this, and then I'm going to run it. Right now, I just have the one model open. I can add links if links existed in this model, or I could add other models that I don't even have open to check. I will run the report. It will take just a couple seconds, and it will come back and give me a snapshot of what is working and what isn't. And you'll see there's a lot that is not working. So it looks like my columns, I have columns in the Revit family that do not have IFC column assigned. I actually don't have any columns in this model. Under doors, you'll see that my doors have all the parameters assigned to them. But if I look at my IFC export as, you'll actually see that there is a list of doors where the parameter is actually blank in there. And I can zoom to those doors right from here. When I zoom to that door, you'll notice that my IFC export as and my export to IFC as is blank. I can simply fill out IFC door here. And then that door will no longer show in this report when I run it again. Once you've validated the parameters in your model using the Model Checker for Revit, the next step is to populate the IFC-SG parameters using Revit. Once I have finished validating the parameters and making sure that all of my elements have the right IFC-SG parameters attached to them and the right IFC classes assigned to them, now I can just use Revit to fill in the other IFC parameters. So for example, this chiller is not potable. It is not barrier free. And I might add in some other data inside of here, such as the diameter or the thickness, and I can just simply type those in. Now some families already have their diameter, thickness, width, length assigned to them. So how do I get that data filled in here? In the case of this particular family, when I edit the type of the family, you'll see that there is a chiller length field So this chiller is a little over 7 meters long. It's a big chiller. But what if I want this length parameter to reflect this 7.168 meters? Well, I can do that by actually editing the family. If I edit the family, it will open up the family in the family editor, and I can use the same tools I used previously, in this case the share parameters tool, to run my IFC-SG share parameters on the family itself. When I do, it'll say it successfully bound 15 of the parameters. Remember, it bound 175 previously for the entire project model, but for this family, these other parameters weren't relevant because it is mechanical equipment. Now that my IFC-SG parameters are in this family, when I edit the family types button, you'll see here's that chiller length value we were talking about. I can actually copy this value, and if I scroll down to the IFC-SG parameters, you'll see length is one of the IFC-SG parameters. I'll just set that to equal chiller length and apply it, and you'll see how it automatically populates the length now. If I load this back into my project, and I'll overwrite the existing family definition that's in this project, now when I come back and pick on my chiller, you will see that the length of 7.168 is shown in my IFC-SG parameter of length, and I don't have to edit that. If I actually edit the family and make this 7.2 meters, you will see it automatically update. Now that you have all your IFC-SG parameters populated correctly, it's time to do the last step in this process, which is to export to IFC. Once you are ready to export to IFC, it's important that you make sure you have the latest IFC extension installed. You can go to manage.autodesk.com, log into your account, and if you click on Product Updates, you can search for the IFC extension. So here's the IFC extension for Civil 3D, and if I scroll down, I will see the IFC extensions for Revit 2024, 22, 23. It's important to get the latest one downloaded and installed. Once you do, from Revit, you'll go to File, Export, and choose IFC as your option. If you're using Revit 2024, you'll actually find an IFC-SG regulatory requirements view export setup already built into that version of Revit.